My name is Barbara Wold. I'm an international speaker and for the retail and consumer industries, the hospitality industries, and I miss being in front of a live audience. I will tell you that. But luckily for Zoom, we can do this, and I'll tell you that this business of Zoom has exploded, like so many other businesses. One of the words I used on Tuesday, one very, very important word today, even to survive, because we're talking about how are you going to get your community, whether it be in Great Falls or a rural area, it doesn't make any difference. How are you going to get them to shop locally? During this pandemic, we're all in front of our computers. It's very easy to do everything online. How are you going to get them to come into your business, or at least a curbside pickup? And so this is going to be our focus today. I used the word on Tuesday, pivot, and that is an extremely important word when we look at how different industries are pivoting today. In fact, I was just chatting with Jolene the other day about the hotel industry in Europe. I mean, they are just, hotels are not able to make it. Obviously, people are not traveling. They're going through their second wave of this pandemic. And so in Europe, they're turning the hotels into apartment buildings with a communal kitchen. Makes sense. Well, last night on the news, I was reading about the hotels here in the Denver area that are offering a day rate because you're sick of sitting at home, you're sick of your home office or your dining room table, whatever it might be, and to come and enjoy then a different change of scenery and their amenities for the day. And so I thought that's a great way to build business. So businesses are changing today. I mentioned on Tuesday that I never sit down and watch the news or anything without a tablet and a pen. I have one on my bathroom sink and I have one next to my bed. Last night on NBC News, whole segment all about retail and what is going on today. And they had said that 39% are going to cut back on their budgets. It's probably going to be higher than that. People are sure that we're going through the stage of uncertainty right now. Then also too, 59% are going to do more online than they did last year. Well, obviously the numbers online are exploding anyway right now. They advised everybody to shop early because there are going to be problems with the supply chains, and there are probably going to be delays with shipping because everybody wants everything shipped right to them. They're not about to leave. And they said on the news last night, the one way to survive is curbside pickup. And Target, in the last 2 months, Target's curbside pickup has increased by 700%. And they said on the news last night, that's the only way businesses are going to make money is if they let their customers know they have curbside pickup, and they train their staff to do it correctly. And this is one thing that's going to keep them alive. And to shop early because of the problems, and because with this curbside pickup, the customer will have their item all ready to go. They don't need to worry about it being delivered. They will have it in their hot little hands. So, this is what we're going to really talk about today and focus on. Make sure also that the customers are sent off some sort of a little bag with a handle, all different sizes. Totes come in all different sizes. A little string on the top, a ribbon, piece of raffia. It doesn't make any difference. If you can have your name on the bag, fine. And some sort of a tag with the customer's name on it. Because the way your bag is delivered, the way their merchandise is delivered is almost as important as what's inside. Because you want to look very, very professional. All right, how are you going to do this then right? You're going to have to train your staff. As I mentioned Tuesday, staff are completely different today in their responsibilities. They're now taking phone orders. They're now delivering to cars. They're now packaging up maybe merchandise that's going to be shipped. I mean, they have a completely different role today. So give each one of your staff members a position. What is their responsibility? And train them with that. The person that goes out to the car with the merchandise, first of all, gloves, the little rubber gloves, a mask, and to greet the customer by name. Um, Greet them by name, let them know that you're so thankful that they're shopping with you, and thank them. And give it a personal touch. Maybe you're going to let them know that, all right, you have a little thank you note in the bag. Now, this I received, I was staying at the Palmer House Hilton Hotel in Chicago. Lovely historic hotel. And people don't write notes anymore. We don't even expect notes any longer. Everything's emailed or texted to us. And after I checked in, the woman that was checking in let me know that there were not coffee pots in the rooms. There's a very old hotel. It's 125 years old. It's on a historic registry. Beautiful hotel. And she said, but if you'd like one, Miss Wold, she's just called housekeeping, and we will bring one right up. Well, I got to my room, and it was tiny, tiny. I mean, this is a 125-year-old hotel. There wasn't even room for the luggage rack. And that night I ordered room service, and then when the man delivered, he walked in and he goes, oh, you got a tiny room. And I thought, and how did that make me feel? Tiny. Well, I was getting ready for bed, and I noticed that the note had been slipped under the door. I opened it up and I looked, and it said, Dear Miss Wold, it was a pleasure meeting you today at check-in. Have fun in Las Vegas after this, because I told her I was on my way to Las Vegas. And she said, and please enjoy your stay. Well, I didn't expect this. Now, did this give me a different feeling about the room? It definitely did. Yes, so notes are so important. So maybe take a little personal note in. You could put a coupon, a discount in it. And you know what? What about a lottery ticket? How much fun would that be? I was staying in a hotel right above Seattle in Everett, Washington. Staying at it was a independently owned hotel. And when I checked in, I received a little bag, and inside had a bottle of water, a granola bar, some candy, and a lottery ticket. And I thought, how fun. And it was such fun. And it cost them $1. But, you know, I remembered it. Yes. And I will always remember all my stays now in Everett, Washington. And Everett, Washington is interesting. Think about your customer also. When we talk about spending and pulling back and people cutting their budgets, Everett, Washington is a blue-collar area, but Boeing's there. That's where Boeing headquarters are. And I remember one night during my stay, I went to the Outback Steakhouse. Well, that's not inexpensive. And there were whole families eating there. And the next day, I was working with the Everett Mall, and the next day I was chatting with their general manager. And I said, you know, last night, the Outback Steakhouse, I said, I was surprised at how crowded the restaurant was. And she said, yes, we're blue collar, but we're a lovely shade of blue. And it made me think about Boeing. You know, they're all executives from Boeing. They could be blue collar workers, but they're all executives. So look at your customers as well. Who are you appealing to? And who are you trying to grab? Also, with your curbside pickup, now you need to make sure that spot is there for the customer. You may have to go to the city and get a license for that and get a permit, which is very easy. You need to find out what needs to be done. And I'm sure that Nathan can probably even tell you what can be done or what needs to be done, because then they'll block that off. Also put signage up. Go to your local sign man, have a sign made so that it's, you know, it can be an A-frame sign that goes out on the sidewalk right there to let customers know that you have curbside pickup for one reason, and then to let the customers know where they need to be pulled up. Also email them before they arrive. When they place their orders, so that they know what the procedure is, that they can pull up and just give you a call and you will run the merchandise out. So, you know, you've got to have some sort of procedure so your customers know what to expect. And so you can do it right. A great customer experience. It is, first of all, you're solving a problem for the customer. Definitely, you're solving a problem, but then you're showing them that little bit of delight that they're looking for. I mean, we all need delight today. I'll tell you, I'm sick of being cooped up inside all the time. And so it's that little bit of delight. So, take advantage of that. And that's what's going to bring the customers back over and over again. But they need to know what your services are. And as I mentioned on Tuesday, you're going to put something in the bag. It can be something such as this. It can be something that you've done on your computer and it's just folded, but with all your services on it. That you have in-store pickup, that you have curbside pickup. You're taking appointments now. Let the customers know. Remember what I said was on the news last night. The stores that don't let their customers know about their curbside pickup, they're not going to make it. But their business can increase 90%, 90% online, their online business, if they provide and if they let the customers know about their curbside pickup. Delivery, do you do delivery? Why not? Either you can take it yourself, you can put it in an Uber or a cab to get to them if they need it quickly. Use every means that you have in the area where you live and where your business is. Shipping, UPS, FedEx, however you ship, you let the customers know also on this piece you're putting in their bag what your services are. Gift wrap, obviously you gift wrap, I hope. Gift certificates, yes, but they need to know. You can't say, oh, our customers know we have them. Not necessarily. You've got to let them know. How can they find you on Facebook? How can they find you on Instagram? Are you on YouTube? How can they get on your email list? How to sign up for that? Because your email list, your database is gold today. That is gold. If you don't have that, and so you want every new customer that you have, get them on your email list, get their information. And you need to let them know also about things through your voicemail message. Don't just have on your voicemail message where we'll be open tomorrow at 10 o'clock and we close at 6. No, change it up on a regular basis. You can put promotions on there. You can put that we do curbside pickup. Don't forget about curbside pickup. But all of that needs to be on the flyer that you are putting in their bag. Make sense? Of course it does. Something fun that I did with a retail business recently, she was having problems because of the pandemic, obviously, and wasn't getting the foot traffic she expected. And she was out in the Hollywood Hills right here in California. And I asked her how many employees she has. She says, I have 12 employees. She said, no, they're not all full-time, but I have 12 employees. I had her make up a flyer, just a simple flyer. She did it on her computer. She ran it down to the copy store and had copies made up. And what it was a flyer that was going to go out to her employees' neighbors. Went out to her employees' neighbors. And don't print it up on red or green for the holidays because it's too hard to read. Something that's easy to read. And what it was, it told about her store, all the services she offered, and then the person who was her employee wrote her name and where she lived, on which street she lived, and that she would be glad to bring any of their purchases home with her and drop them off on her way home from work. It worked out perfectly. And I had never thought about that. And we thought, well, let's try it. And her employees were willing to walk around the neighborhood, walk a couple blocks, or they had their children do it and put it in their mailbox. And, it created such a boost to her business because the employees' neighbors felt comfortable, letting her bring the packages and put them on her doorstep, and she rang the doorbell, and so there was no contact at all. So it was very easy. So, this is why I said you've got to pivot, you've got to think of things differently and try new ideas. It's a new world today. And unfortunately, this year has not been fun, I don't think, for anybody. And last year at this time, I was in Maine. And I was up in Maine, and I was getting ready to do a presentation for Maine Tourism, speak at their conference. And I had the television on, and Hannaford's is the large market in Maine. And they had an ad for Hannaford's. And it wasn't that tomatoes were 99 cents a pound or anything like that. It's what kind of experience you were going to have shopping at Hannaford's. And this is what you need to let your customers know. You know, this isn't the time to put things on sale at all. It's the time to be creative and to figure out what it's going to take to get your customers to return over and over again. Look at Disney. Disney once said, Walt Disney was a fascinating man to begin with, filed for bankruptcy twice. He was fired from the newspaper he worked at because he wasn't creative enough. Extremely interesting man. But he once said, there's no magic to magic. It's all in the details. He could take seamlessly little tiny details and repeat them perfectly over and over, day in and day out, to create the magic we know in Disneyland today and Disney World, and to get people to come back over and over again. You know, people stay for years to go to Disneyland and Disney World. And I'll tell you, that Disney is having major, major problems today, as you can expect. So, you know, think how you can do things a little differently and make that experience so delightful for the customer that it will bring them back over and over again. Can customers see a smile any longer? No, with a mask on, they can't see a smile. Can they see it in your eyes? Yes, yes. In fact, I was doing an interview with a bank president for B of A, and this was when Wells Fargo was on the news all the time for all the things that they were doing incorrectly. And we were talking about that, and he said, one thing that I want to make sure is that the experiences that my customers in our branch have fabulous experiences when they're working with the teller. And he said, one thing I have said to my tellers, you know, they can smile all they want. You know, here we go. They can smile all they want, but it's all in the eyes. He said, so many of them didn't even make eye contact. So I gave them all an assignment that every time somebody came up to their window, that they were to write down, after that person left, the color of that person's eyes to make sure they made eye contact with them. And I thought, how fabulous today, because that's all we see is somebody's eyes today. So think about how important that is. And as I said about pivoting, you need to know all of the services that are offered downtown, and you need to let all of the other businesses downtown know what your services are. Walk around, take your little card with you, and drop in and, you know, let all the other businesses know what your services are. Because you want to be able to, if somebody buys something from you, and we've talked about bundling on Tuesday, how important that is. You're going to sell somebody a wonderful ceramic pie plate that was made in Montana. All right, send them down to the bookstore to pick up a cookbook to go along with that. All right, so you want to know what services everybody else in your downtown offers, in your community offers, and you want them to know what services you offer. So this is the only way you're going to get your community to shop local. You know, otherwise it's real easy just to do it online, order it from Amazon or somebody else, you know, and, but you need to know who you are as well. Sorry, I touched something and something went haywire. I was sitting on a plane once, and I was up in first class. I was lucky enough to be bumped up to first class. And I was I always mind my own business, don't pay attention to anybody else. But the man next to me was working on spreadsheets and looking at spreadsheets. So I kind of looked over to see what he was doing. And they were from Domino's Pizza. So I kind of looked up at him and I realized it was Tom Monahan, the founder of Domino's Pizza. So I said, Mr. Monahan, I said, I recognize you. I said, your pizza's my favorite. He goes, no, it's not. I said, it's not? He goes, no. He goes, you like the pizza from the little guy down the street. We're not in the best pizza business. We're in the good, affordable, fast, 30-minute pizza delivery business. It's 5 o'clock, kids just came home from soccer. They want pizza for dinner. I'm ordering from Domino's. Guys are coming over to watch the game on Sunday. I'm ordering from Domino's. That's the type of business we are. We're not in the best pizza business. And I thought, well, yeah, I think it makes sense. That really does. Well, here I was working in Columbus, Mississippi. Columbus, Mississippi is gorgeous. This is where General Sherman housed all of his injured soldiers. And so the town wasn't destroyed. And so you still have all the antebellum mansions and everything. It's beautiful. And I was there working for a week. And I did a seminar in the Mississippi Women's College in their auditorium when I first got there. And then I was to do one at the end of the week to kind of discuss everything that I had done during the week, because I had individual business meetings every single day. I had 5 or 6 meetings every day. And what the businesses were to do before I got there, they were to have in my hotel room an envelope with information about their business, a little description of what they're doing marketing wise and so on. So I knew about their business before I ended up in their business to consult with them. Well, my first assignment was Mike's computer store. So I went in North Mississippi Computers, met with Mike, gave me a tour around his business. And then he said, let's go sit in the back room and we can discuss. And I did. And I said, well, Mike, I said, you know, when I was looking through your envelope, I said, everything that was in there concerning marketing was 10% off. That was your marketing plan. He goes, yep, that's my marketing plan. I said, well, why is everything 10% off? He goes, because we have competition. And I said, well, who's your competition? And he said, Walmart and Office Depot. And I said, well, Mike, I said, you have used computers, refurbished computers, and you do computer repair. How can they be your competition? They don't offer that at all. He goes, oh, I guess you're right. He goes, I never thought about that. He said, that's not the way to do my marketing, is it? I said, no, not at all. And so at the end of the week, when I was doing the seminar, he came to show me his new website, had a whole new website. Have computer questions or problems? We have the answers. His business card was very large, North Mississippi Computers. And again, it's the same thing. You have computer problems, we have the answers. And so he realized he was marketing his business in a completely different, the wrong way, by just offering discounts. And that's not the way to do it today. And especially now during the pandemic, it's that delight that you want to offer the customer. They're going to come. They've got to spend this Christmas. You know, their budgets may be smaller. Maybe they were going to spend $50 on their sister, and now this year's going to be $25. But they want something special. And so you're going to deliver it to them in your little tote, curbside, something special, something wrapped, something all ready to go. Think about, you know, that feeling of delight. I was up in Fulton, New York, upstate New York, up in Fulton. Fulton has a Nestle's chocolate factory and a cardboard box factory. That's it. And a river that flows the wrong way. That was their whole marketing for their tourism. And they gave me, when I left, a 10-pound bar of chocolate, Nestle chocolate. Well, I do not need a 10-pound bar of chocolate. So I stayed at a Best Western at the Albany airport, and I was to fly out the next morning. So when I checked in, I gave the young lady at the front desk, I said, would you take this 10-pound bar of chocolate and share it with your staff members? And within 10 minutes after checking into my room, I had a little note under my door with little drink coupons attached to it and a little thank you note from the employees. And I thought, how neat, that really made me feel good. And on that trip, I will never forget that trip, because on that trip, when I checked into the Delta counter at Albany Airport, the Delta representative said to me, Barbara, you're going to be sitting next to somebody special today. I said, I am? And she goes, yes. And she says, I won't tell you who it is, but you'll know who it is. Well, I couldn't wait to see who it was. Who did I sit next to? Tony Bennett, the nicest man ever. Oh, he got on with everybody else. We stood in line. Of course, we were up in first class, which was nice, but stood in line with everybody else. The nicest man. And I've sat with some fun people. I sat with Travis Tritt once. I sat with the Fonz. I've sat with a bunch of other people, and I sat with Pauly Shore. I didn't know who he was. I thought he had mental problems. My son was upset I didn't get his autograph, and I had gone up to use the powder room, and I said to the stewardess, "Is there something wrong with that man next to me? He was throwing his peanuts on the aisle and everything." She goes, "Oh, he's a movie star." I said, "I don't think he's a movie star. I'd never even heard of him." But no, but think of the delight that, first of all, the staff at this Best Western felt, because of the 10-pound candy bar they could share, but the delight that I had that they took the time to write a little note to me. So, as I said to you, your database is gold. So take advantage of that. And, you know, whether you do Instagram, whether you do Facebook, if you have a Facebook group, however you do it, as I mentioned on Tuesday, if you're not good at social media, have somebody help you. Have somebody in charge of that and responsible for that, so that they can do things on a consistent basis. Back to getting everything, all your information on whatever you're putting in your customers' bags. I was at a street fair in Golden, Colorado last year, before the pandemic, obviously, and I picked up a couple of business cards. They were both like bookmark business cards, which is great. I will tell you, this is one way to market right now, because people are reading books. They want to hold a book. Yeah, I have a Kindle, but I'd much rather hold a book and read it. People want to hold a book. The same thing like with cookbooks. Cookbooks are big. That category has exploded because people want to hold a cookbook. Yes, you can get any recipe you want on your phone or on your computer, but to hold that book is something special. All right, so this is a great way to market yourself. I picked up 2 of these. One was great, this one, Crystalwood Creations. On the back, there's a map, their hours, all the parties that they have, and everything. Everything's right there. I know exactly what kind of business it is. And I picked up this, Art Resources. There's a phone number and an email and a website, totally blank on the other side. All of this wasted space. So, you know, take advantage of everything that you send out to your customers. Take advantage of it and let them know what your services are. As I said, that's the only way you're going to make it today. That's the only way, and to delight your customers. Sending things out to customers today. Catalogs have started coming again. I think marketing companies that are looking for new marketing ideas, they're going back to catalogs. I got one from Chico's the other day. Now, I got one from Chico's, and I know there's not a Chico's in Great Falls. There's one in Billings, I believe, and I know there's one in Missoula. Chico's at this time of year would normally send out a catalog with holiday attire. No, there was no holiday attire in there at all. It was all very comfortable, lounging clothes plus comfortable clothes to work out of your home. It was completely different. So you've got to think about the times as well. But if you send something out, and a lot of the printing stores will work with you right now because they're having a tough time also. And, you know, you can work out some sort of a deal and a special rate with them possibly. And it's not too late to mail something out. But if you do, you know, think about it. These are 2, and I'm trying to see if you can see, 2 direct mail pieces. All right. If they arrived in your mailbox, which one would you look at first? Sure, this one. They are both for the same thing, dentist, both for the exact same thing. But if you send anything out, make it something that a customer would pick up. You know, and I mentioned, I know, list all your services on there and everything else, but you've got to figure out how to do it so that it is neat and clean as well, and that they can read that. And you want to make sure also that it's a piece that they'll take, keep, and possibly put in one of their drawers or whatever so they can refer to it. Yes, you have all of this on your Instagram page, you have all of this on your Facebook page, everything else, but people also like something that they can tuck in their drawers still. So don't forget about that. Do you have any type of a loyalty club where if customers buy, you know, say 6 times this loyalty card is figured out for 6 purchases, you know, to do something like that, you know, coffee stores they've done it forever, but you know, gift stores, bookstores have done it forever as well. You know, figure out how that might work for you. Would that work for you? I don't know. That's what you need to figure out and to take the time. But then it's time to sit down with your staff and figure out, you know, what new can we offer? What services aren't we offering right now? What service could we offer maybe to seniors? Seniors aren't getting out right now at all. Could we, you know, up that? What would seniors want from us? How can we make it easier for them? And I'll tell you, I live in a high-rise in downtown Denver. I have everything delivered. And I have my groceries delivered, my wines delivered, my prescriptions are delivered, and everything I buy is. And I'm a senior citizen. I'm not afraid to say that, and I'm not going out. I have a heart condition, and I don't go out right now, which is kind of sad and very, very hard for me. But I've shopped with Instacart for quite a while, and that's a category that has exploded as well. I got an email from them last night. They have a new service for seniors, and they've been able to sign up 60,000 seniors in the last month. Seniors, a lot of seniors don't use a computer. Of course, I use a computer all the time, but you know, there are a lot of seniors that don't use a computer, or all they have is their phone. And so they have a service that will guide you through opening up an Instacart account and how to shop online and put things in your cart and how to have it delivered. And I thought, that's a neat service. You know, and obviously one of their staff members probably came up with it. You know, so talk to your staff, talk to your customers. A quote that I love is, whoever learns faster from the most brains wins. I love that. Whoever learns faster from the most brains wins. So it means talking to people and listening. And of course, it's harder today because your customer isn't in front of you as long as they were before. You can't do focus groups or anything like that anymore. But talk to them. You know, if you have a minute with them on their phone and they're placing an order, you know, ask them, what other services could we offer that would help you? So take the time to do that. I received an email this morning from a retailer that I use here in the Denver area, and it was their staff picks. What were their staff choices for the month of October? So that's something that you can put on your website. That's something that you can use with your Instagram. When I talked about your Facebook videos on Tuesday, you know, how many of you have never even tried that? Have fun with your customers, but that's something you could do. You can walk through your store. You know, I mean, they don't have to be long at all, but walk through your store. And this is what Mary, our employee who's been with us for 12 years, this is what she loves. It just came in. And, you know, and so let your customers know what you have as well. But staff picks, I thought, you know, that's a great way to do it, and just reinforce that this morning when I got the email. I was working with a retailer right here in Castle Rock, not far from Denver, south of Denver. And they wanted to do something fun. They wanted to try something different marketing-wise. And they had never done a direct mail piece. And they both sat in a seminar that I did for the downtown Castle Rock merchants. And they said, you send out a card that people are doing that again. And we'd love to send something out, but what can we do that would be fun and get our customers' attention? And we've got to do something fast because there are only so many more days until Christmas. And we did this last year at this time. It was the exact same time frame. And they wanted to do a fun postcard. And I suggested to them that they go to the local junior college. And there's a junior college right there. And they went to the art department and they asked the art director to have their students come up with something fun that they could mail out to customers. So it wasn't just a photograph. And they sold loungewear, jewelry, and basically casual clothing is what they sold, lingerie too. And so they had the art students come up with something. And the one that they chose was this. It is a postcard of basically caricatures of the three owners. And it was great. They went to the local newspaper and they took the editor out for lunch and told them what they were doing and that they had utilized the junior college. And she thought that was just great that they did that. She did a half-page article in the local paper. Well, everybody wanted to see who these girls were. We're obviously now this year, it's a little bit different because everybody has masks on anyway. But they all wanted to see who these three girls were, try and pick out which ones. And it was fabulous. They did, on the back of the postcard, a $100 giveaway, big deal, $100. $100 giveaway if you dropped your card in the box. The response was fabulous. They bought a very small mailing list of Castle Rock and Castle Pines and just did a very small list. So it didn't cost them very, very much at all, and tried it. And the response was fabulous. And so they also kept track of how many cards they got in the box, how many people came into the store. So yeah, obviously now during a pandemic, if you try something like that, you may have to tweak it so that it works for you. But try something a little bit different, something you haven't done before. And make sure that your customer is delighted with whatever else. You got this in the mail, would you be delighted? I would. I mean, it's a fun piece. First of all, I was in, where was I? In Niagara Falls. I had to stop and think where all I've been. In Niagara Falls, doing a program for the New York Tourism Association. And I had just had knee and hip replacement. And so I was still on the cane. And when I arrived at the hotel, it was a Sheraton. And a gentleman came, the bellman, with his brass cart, and I expected to come out of his mouth, "May I help you with your luggage?" Instead, what came out of his mouth was, may I make your life easier today?" And I thought, how delightful. What a lovely way of saying that. And how it changed my opinion, I'll tell you. And, so it's your staff, how important your staff are today. When we talk about shopping locally, yes, I'd much rather be eye to eye with somebody, or at least connect with somebody via the telephone, or somebody that carries my package out to the curb. I want to be able to connect with somebody. And so your staff members are so very important today. I was speaking for the Montana Downtown Association in Kalispell. And here I was, they wanted me to speak at a luncheon the first day I was there to do their keynote at their luncheon. And then the second day I was going to do a seminar. And 2 days prior, I was going to be in Florida. And so I was trying to figure out how to do this. I don't like to try and travel. I don't like to try and do things that close to each other, because I was going to have to be in Florida one day and the next day be in Montana. And I thought, okay, how am I going to do that? So I fly Delta, So I flew from Gainesville, Florida up to Minneapolis, stayed at the airport in Minneapolis, and then took the first flight out to Kalispell in the morning. Worked out perfectly. I had arranged everything. I had arranged for the hotel, and this is the Red Lion in Kalispell, arranged for them to have their shuttle at the airport waiting for me, and for an early check-in so I could freshen up a little bit before I was going to do the keynote. Got to the airport. The flight was on time, perfect. Got to Kalispell on time. The shuttle was out there waiting for me. Got to the hotel. Everything was perfect. And the gentleman at the front desk said, "I'm so sorry, but your room is not ready." I said, I had asked for an early check-in. I said, I had just flown from Minneapolis. I had to speak at this luncheon, and I'd love to freshen up. Well, first of all, he had a mohawk. He had tattoos all over his arms. He had these big black earring things. And I'm thinking, okay. They said on his name badge, "Jason, I can do it." Okay. And I said, "You know what? I really would love a room. What can you do for me?" He said, pointed to his badge. He said, "Says I'm Jason," which I am. And he says, "It says I can do it, and I can do it." Within 15 minutes, he had me in a room with a cold bottle of water and a very nice granola bar. And boy, did that impress me. Did I take a look at him and think he couldn't do it? I did. I did. And he proved me wrong. That is for sure. So think how important your staff are right now, and what they can do for a customer. And maybe they have to think on their feet. Maybe they have to think on their feet. Where did this first Starbucks open up? Seattle. You all know that. All right. Cold, rainy, hot coffee did very, very well. Second Starbucks, where'd that open up? Chicago. Windy, cold, with the winds coming off of Lake Michigan. Okay, hot coffee did very well. Third location, 3rd Street Promenade, Santa Monica, California. Hot August afternoon. That hot coffee just flying out the door? No. Ann Ewing was the manager of that store. Everybody was asking for cold drinks. They didn't have cold drinks. So she went home, she got her blender, she stopped and got some ice, and she made the first Frappuccino. Look where Starbucks is today. Wonder if she's getting any royalties. Do you think so? I don't know. I often think about Nike. You know, the little swish? Do you know how much that cost Nike? $35. Was an art student in college. $35. I'm sure he's got some stock or something. I hope so. I sure do. But so what is it about? What's going to get our customers to come back? What is it going to keep our customers loyal and shop with us? As I said, it's the curbside pickup. On the news last night on NBC, 90% increase if businesses offer curbside pickup and let their customers know. It can be a 90% online increase. But you've got to have a website. And I mentioned this on Tuesday, I'm going to mention it again. You don't need to put 1,000 items on your website. No. Pick 10 or 20 of the most popular things right now and put those on, highlight those, make sure you have enough stock of those items, and then maybe in a day or two, change it around. So think about your website. Think about how important that is today. You're not going to survive without that. With your curbside pickup, with your phone orders, with your appointments. What is it going to take to get those customers to shop locally? They're used to shopping online right now. Everybody is. So make it as easy as possible for them. That's what you need to do. You've got to make it easy for them. I'm going to mention this again. And if you were there on Tuesday, you heard me mention about bundling. How important it is to bundle and why bundle. McDonald's, decades ago, you bought any type of a hamburger from them and they would say, "Would you like fries with that?" It's just typical. They haven't used that for decades now. And instead they created the value meal. And the value meal, yes, you get a drink and you get fries and you get your sandwich. But the purpose of it, add revenue, of course. Of course, they're not stupid. Of course, to add revenue, but to make it easier for the customer. Just to say, I'll take number 1, I'll take number 5. To make it easy for the customer. Then they supersized it. So they supersized their value meal. So now they're making even more money and you're getting fatter at the same time. No. And you're making it as easy as possible for the customer to buy. So think about bundling and how important bundling is. Think about how important it is if you're doing appointments in your store to have that table in your store that's set up for appointments so that when somebody makes an appointment with you on the telephone, you ask them, not, oh, I'll see you Thursday at 3 o'clock. No, who are you shopping for? What type of a budget do you have so I can have some things picked out for you? Let them know that you will have things picked out for them and to make it easier for them. They're not browsing all day in your store any longer. I remember the days where I would take my children in their stroller and we would walk the mall for the day. We'd go to McDonald's for lunch. People do that any longer? No, not at all. And malls don't know what they're going to do right now. In fact, it was just announced, more closings for Macy's yesterday, and Macy's is starting to turn then their empty locations into fulfillment centers for their online orders. So everybody's kind of trying to figure out what to do and what needs to be changed and how they can change today. Think about what I said about Hannaford's and how they did not just tell me that tomatoes were on sale. That wasn't the purpose of their ad. So think about how you can make your store seem a better place to shop. And that's what you need to do. Everybody is trying to figure out how to get merchandise to the customers faster. So the key things to think about today are online, any purchase that is made online, letting the customer know they can pick it up. They're not, if you live around the block from the business, why do they want to ship it to you? No, they can have it delivered or that you can pick it up. And once you get that in your hand, because I know so many times at Christmas time, if I order something online, you're hoping and praying that it's going to get there in time. No, this way your customers, remind them to shop early, let them know that there may be problems with shipping, and there might be, with everything being shipped now. I keep on thinking about all of the wasted cardboard. That's what I think about with all this shipping. That you'll have it ready for them online, curbside. Don't forget to find out with the city if they need to give you a permit to block off that spot. I remember when I moved from I lived on a little island off the coast of Newport Beach in California for 20 years. And when I moved, I had to go to the city and get a permit for a moving truck. And it was just a small one because they couldn't get the large trucks on the island. They had to use feeder trucks. So I had to get a permit from the city to block up that spot so nobody could park there. So find out what your parameters are and what you need to do so that you can mark that off. Go to the sign company, whatever local sign man you have in your community, have a sign made, an A-frame sign, so that you can put it on the curb so the customers know visually when they drive by that you do curbside pickup. And also too, so the customers know where to pull up. Maybe they need to pull up to the back door. Maybe there's not a place in front. Maybe there's not a parking spot. Maybe they have to go through the back door. This is why, emailing them the instructions ahead of time so they know and how easy it is. If they're delighted with what you say, what you present to them, the little shopping bag, whatever you present to them, they're going to tell all of their neighbors and their friends. If you include a lotto ticket inside, remember, it's $1. They're going to tell all their friends. And aren't they going to come more often? Of course. to get a lotto ticket. So, have fun with them also. This is one thing. On Tuesday, we spoke about, how to compete against Amazon. Can Amazon have fun like that with their customers? No, not at all. You can have fun with your customers. You can have fun in your Facebook videos that you do. Amazon can't do that. They can't do that at all. They can do videos about their products, but they're not fun. I have a little light on my computer, which is a Zoom light for Zoom conference calls. I bought it on Amazon, and they did have a video showing me exactly how to attach it to my computer and use it, and it was very, very helpful. And if it had been fun, it would have been even better. But it was just, it was very boring. It was just a typical, instructional video. But with your Facebook videos, you can have fun. Maybe Sue works for you. Sue's a fun person. She's not afraid to get up in front of a crowd. So she wouldn't be afraid to do a video. All right, let her do the video for that week. And change them up. As I said on Tuesday, you could do the back room. You could do some pictures of the back room. Let people know what kind of stock you have. Speaking about that also, one of the store owner mentioned to me the other day that one of her customers was nervous about the stock she had out on the floor and how many times it had been touched. So what she does now is she puts out samples, a couple, but all of her other stock is in the back, so it's fresh, which I thought was a very, very smart idea. Everybody's afraid right now, and I know Montana, same thing with Colorado, is having a spike. I mean, it was on the news last night how many states now, and the majority of them are having spikes again. And now that the weather's going to start getting colder and people are going to be inside and in closer contact with each other, it's going to be tough. And so this is why, any way you can help your customer, is going to make it as easy as possible for them is going to be the key today. My granddaughter's wants to come tomorrow morning to see me, and I had not seen her since Christmas until a few weeks ago. I took her to a high tea at the Brown Palace Hotel. And then she works as one of her jobs as a waitress in a lovely restaurant, a real funky restaurant. But I'm thinking she's with the public all the time. And I don't know if I really, I want to see her, but, I don't know if I want to. I'm just, and last night on the news, in Beverly Hills, California, no trick-or-treating. More and more cities are saying no trick-or-treating. Nobody wants the spread of this. Have you also noticed, as I mentioned on Tuesday, and I'm going to repeat this because this is extremely important, and our time is almost up, what categories are very important now? Home goods, candles, throws, things like that in typical gift stores, very, very important. Cookbooks, products that are made in your state or in your community or territory, wherever you are. Made in Montana. I have a made in Montana section. That could be even on your list of services. We have a made in Montana section. Think about any way that you can to entice that customer. It's not holiday wear for the apparel stores right now. Not at all. It is loungewear. Think about all the shoe stores that sell high heels for women. No one's buying high heels right now at all. How things have changed. Books, very, very big. Food items, and that's another thing. If you have made in Montana food items are very big. One thing that I've noticed since the pandemic started, there were before, meal delivery kits, you had Blue Apron, you had a bunch of others. Now, I mean, that has just exploded. Now you have Martha and Marley, which is Martha Stewart's line. AARP has a line. You've got Dinnerly, and I mean, every single day a new one pops up. So new services. So you've got to look at what has changed with the times and how products have changed, what people want has changed, and how they want it delivered to them, the different delivery methods that you can offer them. Hopefully I've made you think about something today. And there's so much to think about. And remember, the first thing I started out with, the word pivot. You need to pivot. You're a small business. You can pivot more quickly than somebody like Kmart, Walmart, a big, electronics store, whatever else. You can pivot more quickly, but it takes talking to your staff, talking to your customers, just sitting down and trying to figure out. You'll notice something on the news at night. I notice everything that's on the news, I notice, and they're all directed to one of the categories that I work with. And such as the hotel industry, renting a room for a day, a daily rate. So notice what is going on. Take off those blinders. Take them off and notice what is going on. Dear Nathan doesn't know this, but I was arrested a few years ago. Yep, Brett knows, so that's okay. I was arrested a few years ago. I was driving from the Outer Banks of North Carolina to Norfolk Airport, driving through a lovely little town of Currituck. And it was a glorious day, and I was busy changing the radio station. And it was one of the speed trap towns, and I was going just a little too fast. Officer pulls me over, and he said, I'd like to see your driver's license. And he says, it says here you live in California. I said, yes, officer, I do. He said, are you sure you live in California? And this is when I still lived in California. And he was giving me a way out, which I did not realize. He said, because you live in California, I need to arrest you. Arrest me? He said, yes. He said, there are 8 states that do not abide by North Carolina law. He said, California is one of them, Pennsylvania is one, and I forget what the other 6 are. He said, so if you were actually really a criminal, North Carolina couldn't extradite you. So I need to arrest you. You need to sit in front of the magistrate. I said, I need to catch a flight. I can't. He said, no, Missy, I'm arresting you. So I'm in front of the magistrate, and I noticed behind the magistrate pictures of all of his grandchildren. I said, your grandchildren are gorgeous. I said, in fact, I'm a grandma. I'm on my way to babysit. I've got to get out of here. Well, now he wanted $300 in cash, which I didn't have. The bail bondsman's fishing. This is rural North Carolina, Andy Griffith country. And there are no ATMs around. So I think, what am I going to do? Well, now he's got his wallet out, showing me additional soccer pictures of his grandchildren, but also checking to see if he has enough money that we can combine it and I can get out of there. We didn't have enough money. He let me go. I had to get a North Carolina attorney to go to court for me. It's not on my record because I was driving a rental car, which was foreign equipment to me. But the point of this story is, I had to figure out what was going to push his button. And that's what you need to do with your customers. What is it going to take to push their button, to get them to shop locally with you and over again? Thank you very, very much.